Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This video will be about the cosmology or the cosmogony of the most ancient. I wanted to say astrology. This is also true, but I will be speaking about the Mesopotamians. Mesopotamia, the cradle of these civilizations, called many times by historians. This is this is culture. First, the Sumerians would be the first culture which occupied the Mesopotamian area, which is the area of the two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. Later on, the Babylonians took over. So, these very ancient people had very clear picture, very clear idea of how the cosmos operates, and it was hermetic because in the brief description of their cosmology that I will share with you, you will see that the hermetic principle, what above so below, is very much present. Also, as you probably know, because I mentioned this in previous videos, maybe I will say it very quickly now for the people who are new to my channel. Astrology is first before astronomy, and it came with the first Hermes, King Enuma, who was a saint, king of the city of Sipar, and I'm talking 3500 BC, before the big flood. So King Enuma was a saint. This was the time when people were living thousands of years. They had very long lives, and he was lifted by the god of the sun and the god of the storm, Adad and Shamash. So they lifted him, they put him on a cedar throne, they gave him a rod of cedar, of gold, and they also showed him the secrets of divination, how to read the sky. They gave him astrology, they gave him mathematics, they gave him divination, how to use animal liver, and how to read the destinies of people. They gave him the secrets, and they told him that he should share this knowledge only with people, men, who are decent, who are healthy, who come from good bloodline. So not everyone can be astrologer according to the ancients. So this is just briefly to tell you how this is 3500 BC. This is the story, the legend of Hermes. Now in this video, I will tell you, of course, a little bit about the legend. I will mention, of course, the famous, well-known epic of creation. And then I will illustrate with illustration the Babylonian cosmogony. Now here I have to open a big bracket. You will recognize flat earth theory. I believe, absolutely by what I learned so far, they apply the flat earth idea and theory to their cosmology, and I am not absolutely, with this video, I absolutely do not aim at planting the ideas, that the earth is flat or round. No, I'm telling you what was the knowledge of the ancients. You will see the illustration, and also the way you would immediately ask if indeed the model which they applied to their astrology and astronomy resembled plain flat earth. How come they were amazing, of course, in their predictive techniques? Well, they were, and also because also they applied the great technique of primary directions, which technique was based on the movement of the celestial sphere, and I will show you also this. The primary directions is a very sensitive, very amazing predictive technique, which is based on the movement not of the planet Earth, the plane Earth. It was based on the rotation, the celestial sphere. I now when I speak about this, I don't remember seeing there is great translation of cuneiform, which was called Babylonian horoscopes. I never saw them really analyzing so much transits as we do now in our modern times. The transits are good. I don't say they're not. They are really good, and the most, how to say, applicable and maybe simple technique for prediction and analysis, but they applied really the primary directions. So let me share my screen with you. So this is a model which illustrates, and I will be absolutely analyzing this with you, a model which is illustrating the Babylonian, the Mesopotamian cosmology. Now, so please look at this illustration. It is, of course, from Sumerian times. No, not from Sumerian times. I mean, it illustrates the Sumerian idea of the cosmos. I will describe this to you, and later on I will tell you the myth, the equivalent of this story, the mythology behind this. Now, first of all, the whole world is surrounded by the primal, the great ocean. You see, this is the great ocean in grayish. So the whole world is surrounded by the primal ocean. So the primal ocean is in the very beginning of the world, when we have the great above. See, this is the great above, and we also have the great below, which is represented by the netherworld. The great above and the great below. The great above is called Angal. An comes from Anu, the god of who the highest divinity, the god of heaven. An-Gao and Ki-Gao. Ki-Gao is the great below, which also is because Ki means earth in Babylonian. It is Ki-Gal means the great earth, great below. Now the great earth is composed by three parts. So this is the plane here. This is the salty ocean, and this is the earth. And on the earth is the place where people were living, and people are surrounded by the salty ocean. So it is a plane. Under under earth is the Abzu, the sweet ocean. And here Enki, the wise god Enki. Enki actually, later I will share with you a little bit about the mythological story, but Enki is the one who is pouring the water. This is the waterman. This is Aquarius. He is one of the primal divinities, Enki, Anu, and Ea. So Enki is living in the sweet ocean. He is the father of Marduk. He is the father of Jupiter. And he lives in the sweet ocean, which is called Abzu. So Enki is also called Ea. Under is the netherworld, the world of the dead. And this world is ruled by Ereshkigal and Nergal. Ereshkigal and Nergal are husband and wife. Ereshkigal is a representation, this is the energy of Venus, which is invisible. It is believed that when Venus is invisible, she is descending in the netherworld to become the goddess who is ruling the souls of the dead, together with Nergal. So the great below, under them, it is the great below, is where Tiamat is living. So you have the netherworld, and the great below is where the big dragon Tiamat, you can see Tiamat in the zodiac. She is starting from Cancer and goes all the way to Libra, the great dragon Tiamat. So Tiamat is under in the great below. Now Ereshkigal and Nergal are taking care of the netherworld together with other 7 divinities. Together with other 7 divinities. So this is the world of the dead. Ereshkigal is the goddess, which is, I told you, Venus, and he is Mars. Venus in her face as invisible Venus. Now, then this is the Middle Earth. You see the mountains, you see the salty ocean. Above is the first sky, actually. And this is the sky where you have like hanging, from above the fixed stars and the constellations. The constellations, the zodiacal belt, the constellations and the fixed stars as we know them. Above them are the gods, which actually these are the archons. These are the ones who are actually who are protecting God Anu, who is on the third sky. He is the highest in his hierarchy. So what is this drawing reminding you of? This is the model of the flat earth. See, this is the dome, how the people who research the theory of the flat earth describe this. This is the dome, and above we have the water. Above we have ocean. The sky and the great above and the great below all are ruled by each by 7 divinities. And here when you have the first sky, you see the fixed stars and constellations. Here are also the planets. So this is the model, which is the model of the Sumerian Mesopotamian cosmogony. I will tell you now briefly how the story, the Babylonian myth, is really corresponding to this model. So for this I will use the Babylonian myth Enuma Elish, which is actually meant to praise God Marduk, who actually managed to fight the chaos and to create the world, probably the world as we know it. And also God Marduk, like I told you, is son of Ea, see, who is living in Abzu, the Sweetwater ocean. And so yes, this myth is known from the translation that I am quoting, actually is known to be from 1800 BCE, from the time of the great king Hammurabi, who is known with the first law, actually the first legislation, which actually the interesting about this legislation is when I was studying Akkadian and we were given the task to work on the translation, we were told that even though it is very popular to say that when King Hammurabi was living and this legislation were used, actually not. They were proposed to be applied to the social system at that time. So this is 1800 BC. So the story is starting with there was nothing. And interestingly, in this story, the gods were born, and they were born at the moment when they were given names. So this is very, very key importance. So there was nothing except that there was this primal ocean, and there was nothing. So the story is about the salty water, which was ruled by Tiamat, the dragon, which I told you, the dragon Tiamat is living under the netherworld. Actually, this is the place where she is occupying. And then it was the sweet water of Abzu. So when they came together, then the world was created, and from their union the younger gods were created. And the primal gods as we know them are Anu, Enki, and Ea. So they came from the union of Tiamat and Abzu. So there are 2 versions of the story now. One is that the gods which came from the union of Abzu and Tiamat were very noisy. I believe this, everywhere you read about these noisy gods, this I think is symbolic. I cannot imagine how they were noisy and suddenly Abzu decided to destroy them. So this is the story. Other myth says that Tiamat was angry because her grandchildren and the gods became very noisy and she decided to destroy them. So Abzu, then Tiamat, when Abzu said we have to destroy the children because they're too noisy, Tiamat shared this to Ea, Enki, Enki who lives here, and he killed Abzu and started and occupied his place. This is why it is said that Ea is living under earth where we have the sweet waters. So this is the thing. This is one of the versions of the story, but still very interesting. So Tiamat was alone now, Abzu is dead, and suddenly she became angry that her children killed Abzu. So Quingo was her advisor, and he told her that they have to arrange attack on her children. And Marduk was one of her grandchildren. Marduk was the son of Ea, Enki or Ea. It is the same. The Sumerians, I think, called him Ea. The Babylonians called him Enki. And Marduk was the one who managed, at that time they called him the champion. This is Jupiter on the sky. So he, with arrow, split her in two and he defeated Tiamat. When he split her in two, this is how the two rivers from her eyes, the two rivers Tiger and Euphrates, started. This is the belief. Also, Marduk was very much praised, in Enuma Elish, and he created the sky and the earth as they are now, as above, so below. And he gave tasks to the other gods in the pantheon of the Mesopotamian divinities, gods. Also, Marduk, who was son, as you know, of Ea, and Ea is the wise man. Ea is the magician. That's why not very well known fact is that Mercury is magician too. Not Mercury, Jupiter is magician too, because he is son of Ea and he uses the advices of his father. And his father advised him and they created the human beings, us people, from the blood also of Tiamat. So does this speak about some genetic mutation, how the genome of Tiamat was taken in order the human being to be created, and Tiamat is a dragon. So this is very interesting, just to give you a thought. So you see, these are the gods, the way on this drawing, the way Marduk placed them. This organization which we see in the Babylonian, actually the Sumerian cosmogony, is the one which is made by Marduk as a result of the advices which he received from his father Ea. But let's not forget, the first children, the first gods of Tiamat and Abzu are Anu and Liu and Ea, and Anu remains in the highest, the third sky. So as above, so below. Marduk also organized the netherworld, and he placed divinities on their different positions. Also, it is believed that he was at that time when actually Marduk was really praised a lot in Enuma Elish, and he was at that time even more popular than Ishtar or Inanna from Akkad. So saying this, sharing with you this story is maybe I was provoked to do this because I had such question from people what about the Babylonian, the Mesopotamian astrology? Is it really a flat earth or a round earth? Cosmology, cosmogony, based on this picture, drawing, I believe that their idea of the cosmos was that earth was flat. Of course, I am, this is not to impose opinion, or to start discussion, because I know this topic is very sensitive. This is just to tell you how the most ancient, at least as far as we know, um, civilization with great astrologers, astronomers, mathematicians, this is how they perceived the world. And it was hermetic. This is, I started with the story of the first Hermes, and usually every 3000 years, approximately, when a new mini era was about to start, Hermes, or divinity with, or person, or great, um, great, how to say, great master of such great master would descend. So every time, the astrology would have its golden era, and then we would remember again how the ancients would address the cosmos and the universe and their knowledge and their theories. And I can tell you, they really knew more than we do. What we're doing now is trying to remember the true ancient knowledge. I don't say whether this is correct or no. I'm telling you that the Babylonian astrology works with their primary directions, which are also genius technique. The Babylonian astronomy works. So I'm looking forward to see your comments on this one, on this otherwise sensitive topic, and all the best. Bye bye.